What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to have a very serious discussion about you as an investor. I want to talk about 4 different buckets you could fall into as an investor in the NFT ecosystem and give you guys strategies on how to succeed in this very volatile market. Quick plug for my private Discord. We're going to be capping it at 200 members. I think we have like 5 or 6 spots left, and then I'm cutting it off. That's where the group will stay at in size indefinitely. So if you're looking to join a Discord group full of knowledgeable NFT investors that can help you guys succeed with a bunch of whitelist raffles and some really cool stuff coming, you can check out the link in the description below. I see people continuously make the same mistakes over and over again when it comes to investing in these very illiquid and volatile assets. And I want this video to be a beacon for people to point at and say, these are things that I need to implement into my own strategy to be successful. So the very first point I want to make in this video is I want you as an investor to identify what type of investor you are. And from my point of view, there's a few buckets you could fall into. The first one is a pure flipper. So what I mean by that is someone who grinds whitelists, join a bunch of discords to get whitelist raffles, basically buys and sell things very quickly, and your only goal is to make as much money as possible as quickly as possible. You don't care about holding long term. You don't necessarily care about the team or the founder. You don't necessarily care about the art. You're looking to make money. You're looking to make money in a short amount of time, and that's your entire goal. And the flipper mentality gets a lot of heat on Twitter, and some people like to sell shame, etc., etc. But in general, as we've seen in these markets, the flipping strategy continues to be the most consistent way to make consistent profits in the most risk-adverse way possible. And yes, of course, there's always going to be the people that argue, hey, look, man, if you had just held an extra week or an extra month or an extra 6 months, whatever the time frame is, you could have made so much more money. And yes, to some degree that is true. But the entire strategy revolves around being consistent, taking small wins that add up to big profits consistently over time. And for me, this is the profit-taking strategy that most people should implement because it revolves around just being disciplined in your approach to your investment strategy. And it kind of just takes out like that emotional pull when it comes to, oh my God, what's the floor price going to do? Oh my God, the art's so good. Oh my God, the team's so great. All of those different emotional pulls that could be affecting your decision on whether to buy or sell more or less get eliminated because you're just sticking to this regimented flip quickly strategy. The second bucket is going to be people who take a more hybrid approach. So there's going to be moments where they flip quickly and fast and they don't care about the art, they don't care about the team. Then there's also going to be a percent of their funds that they allocate towards longer term holds. So projects that they really believe in. Maybe that's Bored Ape, maybe that's Azuki, maybe that's memeland, whatever the token, whatever the NFT collection is, they have money set aside for quick flips and they have money set aside for longer term holds. For me personally, this is where I fall into the camp. There's plenty of times where I'm going to take profits quickly, but there's also going to be times that I hold on for longer periods of time because I really believe in the team and I also like the art, and I also believe that the team understands NFT catalysts in time that are going to produce volume, which could make the floor price go up in price, right? It's a gamble, but for me, it's a calculated gamble because I've looked at the team, I've looked at the art, I've looked at what they're doing and the catalysts that they have in place to have this volume come in and have the floor price increase. And so for me, a hybrid approach is my favorite. But I think it's really important to note, if you're going to play in the hybrid model, you need the liquid to do it, right? Because liquid, your money, could be tied up for weeks, for months, for potentially years, and you run the risk of this NFT collection completely failing. And so if a hybrid model is going to be one of the investment strategies that you plan to partake in and use for your own personal choices, you're going to need enough capital, you're going to need enough liquid to play in that sandbox. So that's on you to figure out how much funds I have to work with and to allocate it accordingly. And nobody on YouTube or the internet or Twitter or Discord can tell you how to do that for your own financial situation. It's going to depend on how much money you make on a bi-weekly and monthly basis and how much savings you have and how much your rent is and how much your food is and how much you get for delivery, etc., etc. It's all very subjective and all very personalized for your specific context. And so the third bucket, the third approach that I see people adopt is the more collector mindset. And for me, this doesn't make too much sense for me, for my own personal financial situation. And I would like to say it doesn't make a lot of sense for 95% of people in the NFT space, where people will buy and hold basically everything, not really think about selling. They're buying because they really like the team, they like the Discord, they like the community, they like the art, they like whatever it is. They don't really have any plans on selling, and they're not particularly worried about making money at all. And for me, being able to adopt this mindset is a privilege. It's basically somebody who already has quite a bit of a bankroll, and they can basically play in these markets and have their assets go to zero and not really affect their lifestyle as a whole, right? Most people have come into the NFT space or the cryptocurrency space looking to make money, looking to make life-changing gains that could positively impact their life in some sort of way. And so for me personally, the collector mindset, the not really looking at these sort of things as investments, more so like I really like the art and I want to collect it, for me is my least favorite way to play in this sandbox, and is only really reserved for people who already have the money to make that strategy work together whatsoever. And now the very last bucket that I see a lot of people fall into the trap of is getting baited into thinking your community, your NFT collection, whatever it is, for some reason is better than the rest. For some reason is going to succeed when all others have failed. For some reason is going to make you rich, even though all the red flags are in place, but you're blinded by greed and you're blinded by the fact that you think your specific investment is better than anyone else's. And this is a trap I see so often. People hold on to these mid-cap NFTs, people hold on to these super degen low-cap NFTs, and they're like, this team's gonna make it. This team's gonna do it big. This team's gonna do X, while the team is completely anonymous and the art looks mid, and they've gone dark on Twitter and Discord, but they're holding on, they're praying, they're holding on and praying. And for me, this is a very dangerous mindset to get into, and you can very, very quickly drain your bankroll to zero very, very quickly. And this is also the bucket, this is also the mindset where I start to see people get really, really upset on Twitter and Discords, or even at media creators like myself, where they'll say, hey, you talked about X project and you said it was the best, and you said this and you said that, and they take no responsibility for their lack of understanding of their own financial situation and their context as an investor. It's no secret that on this channel, I have talked about taking profits and flipping NFTs since the dawn of time. In fact, the very first video I ever made on this channel was a tutorial on how to flip NFTs, not bag hold them to zero, to flip them. And so I think a lot of people fall into this trap where they get blinders on and they really get attached to their investments, and they get attached to whatever it is that they're holding, and they think it's going to succeed even when all the red flags are in place. And the very fact is that most of them will go to zero. And so I implore you, as an investor, you need to take the time to understand your own financial situation. Be bucket 1 or bucket 2 or bucket 3. Be an investor who makes things based off of educated guesses. Be someone who takes into account all the different factors and understands when to cut their losses. If an NFT project, if a cryptocurrency, whatever it is not performing well, and all of a sudden communication ceases or whatever else, don't get mad on Twitter. Don't start shilling everywhere to try to pump your bags. Just take that loss, take that L on the chin, learn from this experience, and then transition your mindset into bucket 1, bucket 2, or bucket 3, where you can consistently start making profits and consistently start playing with the big boys, where people on Twitter saying, look, I made 5 ETH from this, I made an ETH from this, I made 0.1 ETH from this flip, 5 times a week, and now I have 0.5 ETH to play with. All of these are opportunities, but you need to shift your mindset into playing victim into being an active, educated investor who understands their own financial situation. Okay, so now we've laid out 4 different buckets that you could fall into as an investor in the NFT ecosystem. And for me, like I said, bucket 2 is where I like to play. I like to get my flips in, and I like to get my longer term holds in. Now we need to understand our own financial situation. So I've talked about this on the channel before, but I think I need to continuously talk about it because it's good information that I don't think a lot of people say. And that is, you need to understand your own financial situation. So if you make $2,000 every 2 weeks, so every month you make $4,000, and your rent costs $2,000, and you want to save $1,000, and you have $1,000 to invest, that's a great starting place. You understand how much money you have to work with, how much money you're saving, and how much money you have to invest. One of the biggest traps you'll see in crypto and NFTs is people get completely blinded by greed and they don't stick to their strategy. So if you clearly plan out a strategy and you have a bucket of money that you're okay with using using and losing, then it becomes a lot easier to emotionally disconnect from your investments, and all of a sudden you're able to play in these games and take profits when needed and cut losses when needed and make the gains when needed. So please, I implore you, figure out some sort of investment strategy, figure out which bucket you fall into, and then allocate funds accordingly. If I have $1,000 to play with every month, that's all I'm going to play with. I'm not going to dip into my savings and buy this NFT that I'm FOMOing at because I see X influencers show it on Twitter because they probably got paid to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take that $1,000, and if I can't afford said NFT right now, I'll wait for it to retrace and I'll buy it then, or I won't buy it at all. That's the entire point of having a strategy. I don't have to deviate from it. I don't have to stress about it. So let's peel back the curtain for a second and try to understand what makes an NFT project successful at all. Why do some projects go up in price and why do some projects go to zero? And for me, I think it's a few things. One, you need a founder who's fairly active on Twitter and or Discord, okay? Bonus points if they're on Twitter and they get a ton of engagement. We've seen that time and time again. Founders who can galvanize and rally a community succeed more often than ones that can't. Also, if someone has a following or are active on Twitter and they're known in the space, they're less likely to rug pull, they're less likely to be some sort of bad actor. So there's already a green flag that you can use when trying to decide where to put my money and when. The second part is, does the team, does the founder truly understand what the degenerates want? And what I mean by that is, just because some sort of NFT project comes out and they have the most stacked team and all of this money, whatever, that narrative itself could push people to buy in. That narrative itself could push volume up, therefore floor price going up. But my point is, if they truly understand, if the team truly understands NFT catalysts and what makes the degenerates want to buy in and gamble and speculate on things, they will have a much better shot at succeeding in the long term, in my opinion. So what I mean by that is, I really don't think founders should come out and just give all of their secrets away. They shouldn't come out and give a roadmap for whatever they're doing until the dawn of time. There should be some sort of gamble element there. There should be some sort of secrets, mystery there. People like to speculate. People like to buy into things that they think have future things that could give them money, some sort of value back. So that's another thing you can look at. Does a team come out and just completely word vomit everything they're doing out into the void? Or do they leave things up to mystery? Do they leave some things up to speculation where people can kind of spread rumors and talk about it and get that free organic marketing ball rolling? So I would say that's another really cool thing you can use to identify which projects to buy into and not. Is there a narrative there? Is there speculation there? For the average degenerate that sees, a post on Twitter or a Discord link or whatever it is there something there that would make them want to buy in? And I think we've seen that time and time again. Collections will mint out and they have a great website and they have great art or whatever, and then it's a storytelling NFT or it's whatever. And people just don't care. They don't care about your storytelling NFT. They don't care about your lore. The fact is that very few people in the NFT space, a very small percentage, care about that stuff. The vast majority care about speculation, making money, flipping NFTs, bettering their life financially. And I think that's the cold hard truth. If there's not certain things put in place that are going to get people excited outside of lore and storytelling and whatever it is, I think the project is going to struggle to have some sort of decent floor price. And superficial or not, floor prices matter to people. They want to see that 1 ETH plus floor price because psychologically that makes them feel like this NFT is cooler looking and has a better team or whatever. And it doesn't have to make sense. But the fact is that a higher floor price, people look at that collection a little bit different than the collections that are 0.009 or whatever it is. So to recap, figure out which bucket you're in. Then identify certain things that are green flags for NFT projects, okay? Founder being active, understanding NFT catalysts. Does the team know how to implement those? Is there mystery and speculation surrounding this collection? Those are all good things, in my opinion. If all you care about is trying to flip, make money, etc., those are very important things. So really quick, I wanted to point out the fear and greed index for crypto is 50 points right now, and that just means neutral. So people are very split on whether to feel bearish or bullish. And I think that is basically where I stand as well. There's two competing narratives, with the United States tightening to kill inflation and China printing to inject liquidity into the markets. Two competing narratives, 50 on the fear and greed index. I think a lot of people are split as to where they want to go, where they see the future of, assets going up in price or down in price, whether there is a recession or not. People are split. There's two separate narratives, and this is a good indicator to keep a look at just to kind of get a general emotional sentiment on where the market currently thinks we're headed. I also think we should look at OpenSea monthly volume here on the right side of the screen. As you can see, we're now in the 4th consecutive month of NFT volume upticking. So that's a great thing to see, but what I will say is a lot of that volume is definitely going to be because the Blur airdrop and because of Blur bid farming and people just having extra money to play with. We're also in a new year, post-tax, etc., etc. So I think this is just an interesting chart to look at and kind of get an overall feel of where the current volume is. What I'll say is, even though volume has increased for 4 months in a row, the overall wallets and just people getting onboarded into space has pretty much stayed the same. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure to understand what bucket you fall into, because it's incredibly important and it's going to help you in many different facets when it comes to investing. If you guys like this video, if you think there's good information in these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this stuff around. It really does help me and helps this channel grow. All right, friends, until we degen next time, I'll see you guys in the very next video. Peace.